Daniel Harper never believed that a few simple words could slowly break a strong heart. He had always thought heartbreak came suddenly, like a storm that arrived without warning. But in his case, it came quietly, step by step, hidden inside soft sentences and gentle smiles. It began on a rainy evening in Portland. Daniel had left work late that day. The sky was gray, and the streets were wet with fresh rain. He wasn't in a hurry to go home. His apartment would be quiet, just like every other night. So he walked into a small bookstore he often visited. It was warm inside, and the smell. Holding a book in her hands, but her eyes were somewhere else. She was staring outside at the rain, as if she were lost in a memory she couldn't escape. Her face was peaceful, but there was sadness in her eyes. Daniel didn't know why. But he couldn't look away. As he walked past her, she accidentally dropped her book. Bending down, Daniel picked it up before she could reach it and handed it to her. Their fingers touched for just a second. She looked at him and smiled. It wasn't a big smile. It was small and careful, like she wasn't used to smiling often. "Thank you," she said. Her voice was gentle. Daniel nodded. "You're welcome." For a moment, neither of them moved. Then she said, "It's a good book." Daniel looked at the cover. "I've never read it." She tilted her head slightly. "It's about second chances." Daniel didn't know why, but those words stayed with him. Second chances. They talked for only a few minutes that night, but it felt easy, natural. Her name was Emily Carter. She didn't know many people yet. She said she liked quiet places, just like this bookstore. Before leaving, she said, "Maybe I'll see you here again." Daniel smiled. Maybe, but he didn't expect it to actually happen. Yet it did. A few days later, she was there again. This time, they talked longer. They spoke about simple things, work, favorite movies, and the small things that made them happy. Daniel learned she worked at a marketing company. Emily learned he was an architect who designed homes for families. Their conversations grew slowly. Soon, they started meeting on purpose. Coffee became their routine. Emily always arrived wearing soft colors, and she always listened carefully when Daniel spoke. She made him feel important. She laughed at his quiet jokes. She noticed things others did. Daniel began to feel something he hadn't felt in years. Hope. One night, after weeks of seeing each other, they walked along the river. The city lights reflected on the water, and the air was cold. Emily stood close to him, her shoulder touching his arm. She didn't pull away. Daniel's heart beat faster. He realized he was falling in love. He didn't plan it. He didn't try to stop it. It just happened. Emily made his quiet life feel full again. She filled his empty evenings with laughter. She made his apartment feel warm. She made him believe that maybe, after years of being alone, he had finally found the right person. And, for a while, everything felt perfect until the night he told her the truth. They were sitting on his couch. A movie played quietly in the background, but neither of them was watching it. Emily rested her head on his shoulder. Daniel could feel her breathing slowly. He knew he couldn't hide his feelings anymore. He looked at her and said softly, "I love you, Emily." The words felt heavy and real. Emily didn't move. She didn't smile. She lifted her head and looked at him. Her eyes filled with something he didn't understand. Then she said the first thing, "I don't want anything serious right now." Daniel felt his heart stop. He wasn't expecting that, but her voice was calm, honest, not cruel. He forced a small smile. That's okay. He told himself she just needed time. He told himself love couldn't be rushed, so he stayed. He continued, loving her, hoping one day she would feel the same. At first, nothing seemed different. She still visited him. She still held his hand when they walked, still hugged him before leaving. But slowly, small changes appeared. She checked her phone more often. She became quiet sometimes, like she was thinking about something she didn't want to share. One evening, they sat at a small restaurant. Emily's phone lit up, and she looked at it. A soft smile appeared on her face. Daniel noticed. "Who's that?" he asked gently. Emily locked her phone quickly. "Oh, just a friend," she said. Then she added, "You don't need to worry about it." Those words stayed in his mind. You don't need to worry about it. Daniel trusted her. He didn't ask more questions, but something inside him felt uneasy. He noticed she replied slower to his messages. Sometimes hours passed before she answered. Sometimes she said she was busy and couldn't meet. Daniel told himself she was just tired from work. He told himself not to overthink, because love meant trust. But deep inside, he felt her slowly moving away. One cold evening, Emily stood near his door. Ready to leave, Daniel looked at her, feeling a quiet fear. He asked the question he had been holding inside for weeks. "Do you see a future with me?" Emily froze. She didn't answer right away. Her silence felt louder than words. Finally, she said the third thing. "I don't know what I want." Daniel felt those words like a crack in his heart. Not a loud break, just a quiet crack. He nodded slowly, pretending to understand. But after she left, he sat alone in the dark. He stared at the empty space beside him. For the first time he felt something he didn't want to feel, doubt. Doubt. He began to wonder if he was just someone helping her heal from her past. Someone temporary, someone safe, but not permanent. Still, he didn't leave, because every time he saw her smile, his heart refused to give up. Every time she held his hand, he believed there was still hope. He believed love was worth waiting for. He believed she would choose him eventually. But he didn't realize something important. Sometimes the words people say quietly are the loudest truths of all. And soon, Emily would say something else, something that would force Daniel to see the truth he had been trying to avoid. Daniel felt the change before he understood it. It was in the way Emily hugged him. It was softer now, shorter. Tried not to panic. He told himself every relationship had difficult moments. He told himself love required patience. But deep inside, a quiet fear was growing stronger each day. December arrived and the city filled with Christmas lights. Streets glowed at night and people walked with excitement and warmth. Daniel wanted that same warmth in his life. He wanted to believe Emily was still his future, so he made a decision. He would remind her what they had. He would show her how much she meant to him. He spent days preparing. Cleaned his apartment carefully. He bought candles and placed them around the living room. He cooked her favorite meal, even though he wasn't a great cook. He wanted everything to feel special. He also bought her a necklace. It was simple, a thin silver chain with a small pendant. Not expensive, but meaningful. She wore a long coat, her hair falling gently over her shoulders. She thanked him for the dinner. She said the food was good. The necklace. She looked surprised. "You didn't have to do this," she said. "I wanted to," Daniel replied. She held it in her hands, then allowed him to place it around her neck. For a moment, she touched it gently. "Thank you," she said again. Yes, watched her closely. Calm, quiet, distant. They sat together on the couch. The candles flickered softly. Outside, snow began to fall. Daniel felt nervous. He didn't know why. Emily stared ahead, lost in thought. Then she said the fourth thing. "You're too good for me." Daniel's chest tightened. Those words sounded kind, but they didn't feel kind. They felt like goodbye. He shook his head quickly. "That doesn't matter. I don't want someone perfect. I want you." Emily looked at him, her eyes filled with sadness. But she didn't move closer. She didn't hold his hand. She didn't say she wanted him she just looked away. Daniel felt something inside him weaken. Not break, but weaken after. That night, everything changed faster. Emily stopped visiting as often. She said she was busy with work. She said she needed space. Her messages became shorter. He didn't want to lose her completely, but every day he felt her slipping further away. He stopped sleeping well. He checked his phone constantly, hoping to see her name. Searching for answers? He wondered what he did wrong. He wondered why love wasn't enough. One morning, he woke up and realized something painful. He was the only one fighting for them. Still, he wasn't ready. To let go, a few days later, Emily sent him a message. "Can we meet tomorrow?" They met at a small cafe near the river. It was the same cafe where they had once spent hours laughing and talking. It's the same place where everything had felt easy. But this time, you too. Silence filled the space between them. Daniel wanted to reach across the table and hold her hand, but he didn't. He was afraid of what he might feel. Emily looked down at her coffee. She took a slow breath. Then she said the fifth thing. "I think." Daniel didn't speak. He didn't move. He just listened. Those words were clear, final. There was no confusion in them. Daniel understood everything. She wasn't unsure. She wasn't confused. She had already made her decision. She just didn't know how to say goodbye. Daniel felt pain rise inside his chest. It was deep and heavy. Stay.love should not feel like waiting to be chosen. Love should feel natural, mutual. Emily looked at him. She asked softly. Daniel thought about the question. He wanted to say yes, but he respected her too much to lie. "No," said honestly, "but I will be." Truth hurts more than lies. They sat together for a few more minutes, saying nothing. There was nothing left to say. Finally, Emily stood up. Daniel stood too. They walked outside together. The cold air touched their faces. The river moved quietly beside them. This was the end. They both knew it. They stopped walking. Emily looked at, memorizing her face. "Goodbye, Emily." Her absence filled every corner. Her laughter existed only in memory. He missed her deeply, but he didn't regret letting her. Who is already leaving? Love is about respecting yourself enough to walk away. Weeks passed. Slowly, Daniel began to heal. He returned to his normal routine. He sat on his balcony, watching the sunset. The sky turned orange and gold. Felt different. Stronger. Calmer. He realized he had been searching for love in someone. He felt peace. He didn't know what the future held, but he knew one thing for certain. The next time he loved someone, wouldn't wait to be chosen. He would be chosen freely, and that would make all the difference.